Hey, what's up? It's Diego, founder of bumpingintolove.com, and this video is probably going to be more for my feminine viewers. How do you get your man to be more chivalrous? You know, I get it. I understand that you want your man to open the door for you. You want him to walk on the side of the sidewalk next to where the cars are. You want him to maybe pull out the seat for you. Or, you know, I mean, how attractive is it to you when you go to a restaurant and he sits down and you know, you guys have been discussing the menu for a bit, you tell him what you want, and when the server comes over, he goes, you know what, I'm going to have the steak and a lobster for the lady. How attractive is that? You know, how attractive is it to you when he goes, you know what, just text me when you get home to make sure that you're safe. Isn't that hot? So I'm going to tell you like a crazy hack, this awesome hack that actually happened to me years ago. And from that point on, I was just, you know, I was always a little bit chivalrous, but from that point on, I sought out the moments where I could be chivalrous in front of a woman. It was like my lifeblood. It just felt right. It felt real. And it was something that I wanted to do, not something like I felt like I had to do. And I'm going to give you that exact strategy. A strategy that you can use so that way your man will just want to do this for you. So, you know, let's break down chivalry a little bit, right? It's those moments when, you know, if we look at chivalry, it isn't just that he's like nice to you. It's much deeper than that. Chivalry means that he's taking care of you. It means that he's appreciative of you. It means that he's taking heed of you, noticing you. At a very deep level, it means that he's ensuring your survival, protecting you in a way. You know, and it's our desire as men to want to protect and serve that which we love. You know, and you, I mean, that's a masculine thing, and for you to appreciate that, accept that, is very feminine. It's very beautiful for that polarity, that juxtaposition. So realize that it's I mean, am I wrong in believing that that's attractive to you? And I, you know, if we're being real here, I'm pretty sure we'll agree. It's pretty hot when a guy just does these things, and maybe even at a subconscious level, but it's an attractive feature. And so when we look at chivalry, it's always been based on survival, on ensuring the survival, protection, because it was based on those moments when there was like those knights in shining armor. You know the type. You know, he would walk on the side of the sidewalk next to the car, so in case a car that would careen off would hit him and protect you. He would make sure that you were safe. He would walk, you know, there's one where, you know, men would typically walk down a staircase first, so that way in case you fell down, you would case him in the back. You would hit him in the back so that way he'd take the plunge and not you. Another one, actually, this one's funny, it actually changed over the years, but it used to be in medieval times, it was men that actually walked through the doors first. And they walked through the doors first to ensure that there was no peril behind them. There's no dragons or knights that were ready to kill you. It would injure him, or he would fight off these people to ensure that you were okay to enter this castle. So, but things have changed these days, and now it's changed enough that actually women walk through the door first, which is okay. You know, we don't have dragons these days. You know, back in the day there was dragons. Fact. No, but so, you know, it's a beautiful thing. You know, it's a very alluring thing to want to ensure their protection of your woman, to take heed of her, to notice her, and so you know, let's be in agreement there. It's a beautiful thing, and that we would want that. You know, you'd want a man to want to be chivalrous around you. So how do you create that? Especially when you're with a dating guy who hasn't shown it. You know, maybe he hasn't shown it yet, or maybe you've been with a guy who at some point he was chivalrous and he's lost it. You know, he's in a stage of comfort. So we're gonna hack it, and we're gonna use this thing that a woman taught me years ago. It's something that she did to me, and from that point on, I always did the chivalrous thing around her. So realize when it comes to human behavior, you know, and first off, like, realize that it's not your fault. Okay, it's not your fault that he's not being chivalrous. Okay, let's take that off the table. You know, it was Chris Rock, I believe. It was Chris Rock years ago that said in some like thing, he's like, oh, chivalry is dead because women killed it, and that's horseshit. All right, and you know, I understand that was a joke and everything, but like, you know, when we look at like why is it that people don't have like chivalrous anymore? You're looking at problems, and you know, you're always going to find an issue there. You know, you're never going to find the solution. Let's focus on solutions. Let's ask a better question, okay? It has nothing to do with you. Instead, let's say, okay, like, how can I get a man that's more chivalrous? Or how can I get my man to be more chivalrous? An even better line of question is say, how can I give some part of me, some emotion, which is going to be your femininity. That's where you're going to find your power. How can I give something in order to elicit his desire to be chivalrous around me? That's a really great question because it's give and receive, okay? Okay, so how is it that we can create those moments? You know, those moments when he just wants to do this for you. And so when we look at behavior change, especially in relationships, behavior change in general happens because we either associate pain to a current behavior, or we associate pleasure to that behavior that we want. You know, so when we look at chivalry, we either say, okay, you know what, he didn't open the door for me, I'm going to yell at him, and I'm going to treat him like shit, or I'm going to just create a negative emotion, and then he's going to know that I did not like that. And you know what, in all honesty, maybe you're really good at that, maybe you've created that habit, you've wired it a bit, but that's not going to help you in relationships that much. It's going to be when you associate pleasure to a chivalrous act. And you say, okay, well, hold on, but he's not being chivalrous. Okay, I'll give you that. I'll teach you in a couple seconds. But first off, let's just break down why that's not cool to associate negative emotion. Because most often, if we're being real, that negative emotion isn't just like, it's not at the point of action. You know, it's not when he didn't open the door for you. It's something that has festered and just like bubbled up over time, and then eventually that balloon burst, and then you were like, ugh, and you had that emotional discharge, and he said, and you know, it might be in a moment when he called you, and then you said, ugh, you just let him have it, and what happens is you associate that emotion to something to him, and maybe just he might associate that emotion to just him calling you, and all of a sudden he might not want to call you after that. So realize you might be there's all sorts of associations that are happening when you're bubbling up over time and you blow up at a later point in time. I mean, it's much better if you associate pain at that moment in time, but even then, you don't really want that with chivalry, because what's going to happen is most likely he's just going to be scared of that emotion. He doesn't want that emotion. He's going to be like, oh shit, I don't want that negative emotion again. And so he's either going to like do something because he doesn't want that. You know, he's going to be scared of that emotion, or he doesn't want that emotion, so he's going to be opening the door so that he doesn't get a bad response. And that's not what you want, because you're going to have a dude that's like either scared of you or doing something so that you won't be angry at him, or you're going to have a dude who you're going to have a man that just wants to, like, not even a man, you're just going to have a guy, like a little boy who like walks on eggshells around you. Is that attractive to you? Do you want a boy that just walks on eggshells around you? Let's be real. No, not hot. Am I right? Not hot at all. So we need to create pleasure, you know, and it's going to come from that moment of femininity that you have, that power that you have, that a man will do anything for you. He won't just open a door. He'll kick it off its hinges for you. How do you create that moment? So I'm going to rewind back to an experience that I had years ago. And I was in this relationship with a woman that I very much loved. And I remember I was walking to to her car. She had driven that day. We were parked in her garage. And I'm holding her hand. And I'm about to let go of her hand to walk over to my side of the car, the passenger side. And instead of doing that, she holds onto my hand tighter and pulls me over to her side of the car, places my hand on the door handle, opens the door, and I'm just like confused. I'm like, what's going on? And she kisses me. And then she's like giggling and like kissing me. She's like giggles and she kisses me, I remember. And then she gets inside the door and closes the door, and I'm just like left in this puddle of like, oh my god, that was like feminine and hot and like what just happened? I have no idea what just happened. And I'm like walking around the side of the door, like kind of starting to piece things together, and I remember I look through the rear window and I see her lean over and open my side of the door. She like opens it ajar. And then I get inside the car and she kisses me again. And then she goes, that was hot. From that point on, I'll tell you that from that point on, I don't recall a moment when I wasn't doing some chivalrous act. I was texting to make sure she was okay. I was opening the door for her. I was walking her to her door. I was doing these things just because of that little hack that she did. And so I want to give you that gift. I mean, if there's ever been like a psychological like prize, like a prize you could give to psychological psych majors, or like if you could, like if she deserves a PhD for that. Let's just hand it to her. That was awesome. So, so what did she do? You know, because you might not be in that situation where, like, you know, you're walking to your car and like exactly like the time I was in. But what did she do? You know, so that way you can think of other ways that you can do it. I'm walking in the car with her. You know, I'm holding her hand, and I'm about to do what I normally do. I let go of her hand. I walk over to the passenger side of the car, and she goes, she holds my hand tighter and pulls me over to her side of the car, eliciting a state of confusion. And I'm just like, you know, I'm like, I have no idea what the hell's going on in this moment. And this is what Stanley Milgram studied in 1960. You know, a point of confusion associated with an authority figure, which was her. She was leading in that moment just a little bit, so showing me what to do, not telling me what to do. Right? She was showing me what to do, and she did it she used a beautiful emotion. It wasn't like she was like, this is what you need to do. She was like giggling and laughing, and she accessed a feminine energy, which to me is alluring. I mean, I would do anything for that, and a man who has any level of masculinity will do anything for that, and I mean, that's attractive to you, right? And so she giggles, and then she kisses me, rewarding me. And I believe that was B.F. Skinner that talked about that, rewarding behavior with a positive response. And so I walk around to the, I walk around the back of her car, and I look through the rearview window, and I notice this is a key distinction. She opens my door, she does it. And that's important, because it wasn't just a take. It wasn't like she was just trying to get something from me. It was a give and receive. So like she opens my door, and I'm like, oh my god, that's cool. So I open the door, I get inside, and she kisses me again. She rewards me again, and then she says that was hot. And so I'm going to teach you something about men. And men will do anything to be hot to a woman, especially to you if he's dating you. That's what he wants. He wants to be hot to you. I mean, you know, sometimes we're easy to understand. This is one of them. You know, we just want to be hot to you. We want to be hot. And when she said that, I was like, oh my god. Yeah, I'm gonna keep doing this. And subconsciously, I was like, done. And from that point on, I remember it was just like chivalry all the time. And you know, it's not that you have to do this every single time. You know, I mean, if you look at psychological experiments that they've done on like gamblers going to casinos, it's not like they receive the reward every time, but like every so often they receive a reward. When they looked at dolphins that have been trained in captivity to jump through, like to perform and jump through these hoops, and like they'll give them massive fish at some time, and other times they'll give them like some fish, and other times it's just a small. But you know, the reward is there. They're training the reward with reward. And so realize there's those things that you can do, you know, and sometimes it's when you channel that feminine energy that you're really gonna get it. You know, there was another time when I was with somebody else, and I was walking to the door. She was walking in front of me, and she just channeled like a feminine energy, like kind of like, I remember it was like, she kind of like, it was like a sensuality that she had. She's like kind of arched her back and looked at me as she was texting. As she got to the door, and I was just like, you know, I smiled and opened the door for her. I smiled. It created that. I was just like, this feels good. It's like this masculine energy. It'd be hard for me to describe that to you, you know, as a woman, but yeah, you'll be able to understand feminine energy much more than I will. So you realize that you have an immense power there, and when you channel that, when you use that, when you use that as a reward, oh man, what we do. I mean, we will not just open doors for you. We will kick them off their hinges. We will walk on the sidewalk, so that way when a car hits us, we will dent the car. It'll be like that scene in Twilight when we dent the car and save you. So I wanted to leave you with that. There is an awesome way for you to hack chivalry and get your man doing that, and realize it's a gift that you give him too, because it feels good to us. So you know, it's and realize this also. If you're in a relationship, if you're dating some dude and you do this, and you realize that he isn't doing it, like he isn't being chivalrous, you know, maybe he's having a bad day, but if you do it often enough, and you see that he just like doesn't care, he just doesn't care, you should love yourself enough to be with the right guy, because you deserve chivalry. You deserve a guy that wants to protect you, that wants to take care of you, that wants to ensure your survival. You deserve that. I'm speaking from heart to heart. You deserve that, you know? So, so give yourself that gift. And you know, my message, you know, if you go to my website, bumpingintolove.com, my message is to love yourself so fully that it resonates out into other people. You know, so that you share that with other human beings, so that we still create those moments of serendipity that that our grandparents had when they met each other, that we still have that knight in shining armor, that is that chivalrous dude, you know, those moments of just beauty. So so do me a favor, head over there, bumpingintolove.com, and drop in your email. I have, you know, I even, you know, I interview just like published authors and send like awesome content your way, people that have been on Oprah. So do me a favor, drop in your email over there, and I'll send you some cool stuff. And you know, most likely you're seeing this somewhere other than my blog. Maybe it's YouTube, maybe it's Facebook, maybe I don't know, whatever it is. If you believe that one of your friends, like, you know, you might have like people in your life that, you know, women that you're friends with that just deserve like chivalry, which I believe is everybody. Do me a favor and just send this to them in a message. Tag them. Like this, do whatever, share this on your social media. It's, you know, I believe we deserve to live in a world where a man wants to take care of women, and I believe that we deserve to live in a world where that women are exposed to chivalry, that they're cared for, that they're protected, that they can access that feminine energy that's so alluring and has so much more power than anything else. So I wanted to leave you with that, and you know, my tagline is and has always been, and not has always been, but is more important now than ever, and it's so true. Is to find your own love. You know, to not forget about your own love. So so I'll leave you that message. You know, more important now than ever with all the things going on in the world. Don't forget about a thing called love.